Back at it, Sportsbook betting insight today. Pauly and Teddy, Wednesday, October 10th. All the betting news you need to know in less than 20 minutes. I'm at Real Sportsbet on Twitter. He's at Teddy_covers SBR picks. Let's rock and roll. We'll rip through some NFL and college games coming up, and we'll get to the baseball playoffs, and the ALCS and NLCS series prices are out with updated World Series prices as well. Bad beats bad, bets bad for the books. Flyers 105 up to 120. Run out at home 8-2 by the Sharks. Flyers could make the playoffs if they get good goaltending. That certainly didn't happen last night as they trailed 4-0 in the first period. Yankees 120 up to 150. Red Sox finish them off. Kimbrel made it interesting. More on that coming up. And the Nuggets and Clippers over 226 up to 230. 109, 103 final. Those are all bad bets.
Yeah, and we talked about the Yankees Red Sox on yesterday's show already. And I'm debating 120. I don't know if I want to lay 120 with the Yanks. Yeah, lean there. Don't know if I get to the window. Play of the day, man. And then it gets bet up to 150. If you see me with the play of the day at 120, it gets bet up to 150. That's no good anymore. Hopefully, you didn't get on the wrong side of that one. Boston survives in advance, and we have the Red Sox and Astros in the ALCS.
Carolina Hurricanes took money 180 up to $2. They beat the Canucks. App State 8.5 up to 10.5. They won 35-9. Good defense. They will probably keep winning until they face Troy for that side of the division in the Sun Belt to go to the championship game. One bad beat. Bucks Thunder under 222 down to 218. 119, 115 in overtime. 6 days away from the start of the NBA, baby.
Yeah. And, of course, Tuesday night Sunbelt football on ESPN2 last night. And, of course, we're talking about Sunbelt. We want those coaches' quotes. And we gave you the quotes in yesterday's show talking from Arkansas State about, well, this game isn't our be-all or end-all. And it wasn't. App State wire-to-wire job. Impressive performance, again, from the Mountaineers, who are now perfect, still perfect. 5-0 or 6-0 against the spread. Bottom line, they've covered every number and covered last night despite a big line move in their direction. Books did not enjoy the App State-Arkansas State game last night. Not at all.
Here's some series prices. Jeff Sherman at Golf Odds on Twitter at the Westgate Superbook here in Vegas. The Astros have been bet up to $1.20. I see $1.30 offshore in some spots. They don't have home field, but they are now taking. They were open $1.05 about 2 hours ago against the Red Sox. $1.05 now that's up to 120 at William Hill as well. I like the Astros. I think they're the better team, and they're angry, pissed off with something to prove. They didn't like that talk before the season that maybe they weren't the team to beat. It was the Yankees in the American League, and they are not happy that they had to play all the early games and couldn't get a prime time game against the Indians. They lit up Sale last year too. Imagine if the Red Sox lose game one, and who do you like in that Boston rotation? At least Porcello pitched well, but he's going to be going against a Keuchel or a Morton if that's the matchup in the rest of the series. After Sale, you got to be concerned about the Red Sox rotation.
Sure, but look at the series price right here. You know, Boston, best record in baseball this year. Boston, home field advantage. And the Astros as chalk in the series. Those 120s are gone. They're going very quickly. I'm looking at my live odds screen right now. I'm seeing 130s at leading indicator books, minus 135 out there, even as we speak. So we are seeing the sharp money come in on Houston this morning. The betting market respect for the Red Sox wasn't there in the series against the Yankees, and it's not there in the series against the defending World Series champs.
All right, and the National League, the Dodgers, even though they don't have home field, they're the road favorite. Kershaw in game one, they're $1.50, $1.60, depends where you shop, against the Brewers, who have home field again and have won 11 in a row.
Yeah, and the Dodgers-Brewers, it's fascinating to consider because obviously this price is based on starting pitching matchups. When we talk about series prices, they're going to project the 5 games. They're going to add it all up in terms of averages, and boom, there's your series price. It really is pure math based on the projected starting pitching matchups. But Milwaukee's starting pitching hasn't impressed the betting markets all year. It's not their thing. Their thing has been the bullpen. I wonder if this is price. And, of course, the Dodgers are the public team. They've been in the World Series last year. The Brewers, who are the Brewers? You know, you ask your average fan, name me 3 Brewers, they're going to struggle. You know, they might get Braun, they might get Yelich, then it's, I don't know. There is definitely some lack of respect for Milwaukee in this line based on perception. I think the Brewers offer at least a little bit of value at plus 130 to get past the Dodgers.
All right, here we go. Football time. Let's start Thursday and on Fox. Big game now in the NFC East, which, Christ, 8-8 could win this division. The Eagles are 3 on the road, 43.5 the total against the G-Men. Home dogs are now 16-6 against the spread as they cleaned up and went 4-0 last week. And the Giants, off the tough loss, and America's longest national nightmare is over. They finally scored 30 points in a game for the first time in 30-plus games. And Gano hits from 63 to beat them. It's a big for the Eagles here. You know, the champs are in troubles. They lose at home against the Vikings. But, you know, as Teddy's going to point out, going back since they went to this schedule, the home team on Thursday has crushed at ATS, and that has been the case straight up in ATS with the home team on Thursday night so far. Did you mute your microphone?
Yeah, there we go. Is that better?
There we go. All right.
Can you actually hear me
now?
now?
Take it away. Thursday night.
So sorry. I'll try it again. I hit mute for 1 second by accident. My apologies. Though I imagine it was some pretty funny video to watch me without without actually saying anything. Giants, okay, 3-13 last year, 1-4 this year, and yet they're a team that has a lot of respect in the betting markets. They're 4-18 their last 22 games, and yet Giants money coming in their season over and win total. Giants money coming in on a fairly consistent basis. Not this week, but we have seen a lot of market support for the G-Men. And for all of their struggles at 1-4 so far this season, 3-13 last year, they're 1 game out of first place. They win this game, they could be tied for the division lead at the end of the weekend. There's something to play for here for the Giants. So I'll give them credit in that regard for A, showing up last week, and B, despite the fact that they stink, still got a chance to do something, which, as you mentioned, matters a lot in these Thursday night affairs. Look so far this season. All right. Week 1, Eagles cover against the Falcons. Week 2, Bengals rout the Ravens. Week 3, the Browns rally past the Jets. Week 4, the Rams over the Vikings and hanging 38, and Minnesota not looking prepared. Week 5, the Pats blow out the Colts. Make no mistake about it, it's really hard for these road teams in short turnaround situations. That being said, you know, that's not the only issue with the Eagles right now. An injury-riddled team with Ajayi and Sproles, just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Philadelphia injuries.
Ajayi's out for the year. We'll see what they do. They might maybe make a move to try to get McCoy. That's the latest rumor. You got Clement and Smallwood that'll take over. And the offense, not the same right now. Wentz looks rusty, and he looks hesitant and not making snap decisions as well. Looks slow out there as they lose at home against. Remember, they did a goal line stand to beat the Colts at home too. Get that 4th down stop as well. So interesting game as well. We'll see if they can get the offense rolling too. But you're right, Teddy. Even though the Giants have struggled and they're being priced like they're actually a good team, they win this game, they're right back in it in a bad division.
Sure. I mean, Philly is literally 2 goal line stands away from being 0-5. Week 1 against Atlanta, the Falcons are right there at the end of the game, can't get it in. Week 3 against Indy, the Colts are right there at the end of the game, can't punch it in. It could be already a disaster for Philadelphia. I mean, talk about who the pressure's on in this game. All the pressure's on the Eagles. This is the defending Super Bowl champs. They're 2-3. At 2-4, the panic mode starts to strike. You can already smell it if you read some of the quotes out of Philadelphia. And remember, Doug Peterson. All right, let's give him credit for doing some things right last year. But Doug Peterson had the right guys on his staff in terms of Frank Reich and John DeFilippo. Reich's faced him already this year. Hey, he gave him all kinds of trouble. DeFilippo's faced him already this year. Gave him all kinds of trouble. And now who do they have? Pat Shurmur was an Eagles assistant for many years, like 15 years. He knows the personnel. He knows the schemes. There may be a schematic advantage for the Giants in this ballgame against Doug Peterson, who has flat out been getting out-coached since his brain trust left town.
Yeah, school's out too on his secondary. Throw at Jalen Mills, number 31. Can't cover Teddy. That's another problem, as that's been a key issue the last couple of years if the Eagles can't put heat on the quarterback. Also Thursday night, ESPN, 4:30 Pacific. Texas Tech and TCU. Little Tech money. TCU is 7 at home, 61 the total. Kingsbury not saying a lot, although according to reports, Bowman could be back at quarterback for the Red Raiders. He had 1,000 yards passing in a 2-game stretch. He got hurt against West Virginia. Duffy came in, made a couple of plays, brought him back, and almost won the game. Had a long touchdown run as well before the pick six late sealed it for West Virginia. Bowman is a Dallas-Fort Worth kid, so he'll want to play in this one. And we'll see here, TCU laying 7. What are your thoughts on this one?
Sure. And look, I mean, we have a situation that you would never find in the NFL. The NFL, coaches are going to give you injury reports. They're going to tell you who's going to play and who's not going to play. It's required by the league. In college football, you can get all this gamesmanship. And literally, we have 2 coaches here who are not telling anyone anything. You know, Gary Patterson said that he expects Sean Robinson to play, their quarterback. But Robinson has been banged up. The backup, Michael Collins, has been in the lineup. Patterson's not saying who's going to start, how much PT anyone's going to get. He's going to make the opposing defense prepare for both quarterbacks. As you talked about, Texas Tech, the same situation. Bowman's got the collapsed lung, which is certainly an issue, and he's very, very questionable. You know, I thought McLean Carter looked really good when he had his chance, but again, very young QB. Carter got hurt the first game of the year, and then Duffy came in and threw for 172 and added 86 on the ground against West Virginia. Of course, these are 2 coaches that know each other well. Boy, there's a lot of respect. We are talking about the Big 12's highest scoring offense against the Big 12's best statistical defense. Gary Patterson talking about Texas Tech's offense. Quote, they're always hard to defend anyways. They're one of the top total offense in the nation, and they always are. Coach Kingsbury does a great job. So for us, we try to do as good a job as we can, and the respect goes the other way as well. Cliff Kingsbury on TCU's defense. Quote, the one constant sometimes in coaching is Gary Patterson and the job he does on the defensive side of the football. No team is more prepared defensively. It's just impressive to watch this year in, year out as the pieces change. The consistency on that side of the football stays the same. He's a phenomenal defensive coach. I think that's the piece where you look at the consistency they've had over the years. It's him. Of course, worth noting, TCU could be out 2 starting offensive linemen against the Red Raiders. Left tackle Austin Myers, left guard Cordwell Iwagwu. Both missed the Iowa State game and are questionable this week. Although the one thing Gary Patterson's been doing, we talked about that attention to detail, he's been watching Kansas City Chiefs film. I told you, the Chiefs are running Red Raiders offense in the NFL. Patterson's been watching what Mahomes has been doing in the NFL level, trying to get his team prepped up to win by more than a touchdown on Thursday night in what has been a very competitive series.
I like the under for 2 reasons. Number 1, the quarterback issues with the injuries, as you mentioned, plus that Texas Tech defense, not bad. After it was a debacle to start against Ole Miss when they gave up a 40-burger, but they shut out Oklahoma State on the road in the second half and only gave up 17 points. And then they shut out West Virginia in the second half at home. The pick 6, but they shut down Greer. There's a couple turnovers, drop passes, and a block, a missed field goal as well. So it's not that disaster, that unmitigated disaster we've seen the last couple of years. It's not bad, actually. So I think they can go under in this one coming up. Also, Thursday night is Georgia Southern and Texas State. Georgia Southern 17.5. They're good. They're 4-1 with the only loss at Clemson as well. Another good Sun Belt team as you have that game on TV. Let's go to Friday now. ESPN, 7 o'clock Pacific, Arizona at Utah. Both Utah's 3-2 off the big win against Stanford. Offense is back, finally playing well after the slow start. No Love certainly helped. Arizona's 3-3, a disappointing 3-3. Lost to BYU and Houston to start the season. Both teams are 2-1 in the Pac-12. And look at the respect now as this opened 14. I thought that was too high, but Utah is 13.5 and 51.5 now the total, Utah at home.
Yeah, we got to talk about Khalil Tate. You know, last year, Khalil Tate came on the scene, and he was absolutely insane. He was rushing. Look at his first 6 rushing starts, rushing numbers. He had 327 against Colorado, 230 against UCLA, a $137 against Cal, a $146 against Washington State, a $161 against USC, and 206 against Oregon State. Took the college football world by fire, by storm. And this is in addition to him being able to throw the football downfield. Not the most accurate passer, but certainly a decent passer. And then what happened? November, teams caught up with him. He rushed for 32 yards against Oregon, 28 against Arizona State, 58 in the bowl game against Purdue. So far this year, Khalil Tate's high, 40 yards rushing. Last year, we're talking about a guy who literally was unstoppable. 1,411 rushing yards at 9.2 yards per carry. 2018, he's got 109 rushing yards at 2.3 yards per carry. Here's what Kyle Whittingham said about Khalil Tate. Quote, "It seems to have been a concerted effort or a conscious effort to get him more drop back throws, to perform in the pocket, more than just athletically outside the pocket and on the run. He still runs some, but not quite as much as in years past." Look, opposing defenses have figured out how to stop this guy, and he's got an ankle injury that's keeping him from being less than 100%. Whatever we saw from Khalil Tate early has not carried over to the Kevin Sumlin era.
No, it's horrible coaching. The ankle gave him problems early in the season, but it's also coaching, just turning him into a drop-back quarterback, which is stupid, to sit back there and throw the ball. Dumb. They got the win against Cal at home last week. That was a good win for them, but they also couldn't move the ball much in that game or against USC when 2 touchdowns came late. The kid missed the extra point. They would have got the money, but they were dominated for 3 quarters at home against USC. All of a sudden, and you got to love Whittingham as the dog, now he's laying a ton of points. This Utah offense has a pulse. Remember that game against Northern Illinois? That was like a 9-6 game. They got the pick 6 late to seal it there. They couldn't move the ball early in the season as well, but now the offense is coming alive.
Yeah, it sure is. And that's definitely a concern for Arizona backers because Tyler Huntley is without a doubt coming off his best game of the season against Stanford. He looked good, and that's the first time I've said that about Tyler Huntley this season. And you throw in that, I got a couple of quotes I want to give you. Here's Kevin Sumlin talking about playing on Thursday night. It sure sounds like he's already making excuses before his team even travels. Quote, "The combination of recovery and preparation is much harder on a short week, particularly when you had to travel on that short week. Also, you have to give your student athletes a day off during the week. The challenge is recovery and prep." That's excuses. On the other side of the equation, this is a quote I ran into from last summer.
Okay.
Utah defense coordinator Morgan Scalley talking about who he would rather defend, an elite passer or a great runner who's a decent passer. Here's what he said. "The mobile QB, you just treat him as an extra back and you commit the guys to the box and knock out the run. Whereas an elite passer, if he can fit things into tight windows, he just gives you problem." I would think the Ute strong defense is going to have a pretty good game plan about how to slow down Khalil Tate. I want no part of the road underdog in this one, not even a little bit.
All right, excellent, very good. Tomorrow we go back heavy with college football. It's a good card late. I don't know what the hell, they should have spread these games out more. Nothing in the morning. But Georgia LSU, Washington, Oregon at 12:30 Pacific, West Virginia against Iowa State, Colorado, USC at night, 7:30, Michigan and Wisconsin, the big one, also at 4:30 Pacific. We'll run through those games coming up. Money time, play of the day. Back to the playoffs, ALCS. We agree with the move and already the steam, and Teddy's right. Again, this 2 hours ago, I saw $1.05 at William Hill, and now you're seeing 135, 140 on the Astros. Astros are the right side. They'll win this series and advance to the world. I have the team here. You're right. 108 wins with home field and their dogs. That's telling you something. And it's a angry Houston team about what happened before the season and the fact that they couldn't get a primetime game. They had a ton of people were picking the Indians, too. A ton of people picking the Indians, and they swept them as well. Love the rotation. Love the offense. The Astros, not only to beat the Red Sox, but they'll repeat as well. This is the winner of this series is going to win the World Series. So I'll take the Astros again, and we'll have great stories next week as Mattress Mac will be coming in because he offered those giveaways with that win it all, get it all, $3,000 in free furniture as well, and he was putting huge money down, hedging against that as well. Loshak in the bag up next. Thanks for watching SportsBit. All the betting news you need to know in less than 20 minutes. I'm at Real SportsBet on Twitter, He's at Teddy_covers. Betting Insight today, SBR Picks. Talk to you tomorrow.